Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast, number 126. I'm here with two guests who I am really excited to chop it up with. We have Mark Lowe, you might know him as Marka, and we have Theo Canalopoulos. Did I get that right?
Oh, man. Got it in
I
one.
tried. I practiced.
Let's go.
I didn't even ask for what it was. I just got it. That's what's up. These guys are the founders of NFT Melbourne, and they had their conference last year, which was a huge success, sold out, and they're running it back this year. It's coming up, and we're buddies, and you know, there's a long history with Mark and I, so we have a lot to talk about, but there's a lot going on. But what's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Mike?
Thanks for having us, brother.
Nice to finally be on this. It's almost 2 years ago to the day that we met on Facebook and VV group, eh? So
wow.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks it'll be my 2-year anniversary buying my first
of joining
VV.
that group. Buying your first VV.
So
wow.
I think I would have already been in the group by now.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was right around now. Yeah. I was like, hey, what's this? And Mike was like, hey, we've got a group. Do you want to become a mod? And I'm like, I don't know what a mod is, but yeah, sure. And so, yeah, we were just, before we started recording, we were reminiscing about those early days in Vivi. And yeah, that was my initial thing because I loved 3D and going in there, and the VR was special. And Theo had mentioned NFTs to me before, and I'd heard about Top Shot, but I'm not really a basketball fan, and missed the boat on the Top Shot. And then, yeah, Vivi came along.
Yeah, Top Shot's what Andy and I got into first. And then just a few days later, somebody told us about Vivi. And Andy's like a big comic book guy. So we were just in there. And like you said, we started this Facebook group just kind of for fun. And it like quickly blew up to, a few thousand people. It was for a while the biggest VV group on there. You put together a VV website. Like we were like VV. Yeah, exactly. We were on Clubhouse, like meeting the artists, interviewing the owner and all, that was a wild ride. Those were really fun times. Met some great people, Claire and Sean. The whole crew.
Yeah. And it's a fascinating project, isn't it? Like I know like every project is FUD and stuff, but
right.
They have dealt with partnered with the biggest brands in existence, right? So kudos to them for that.
That's what they have. Yep. That's what they have going for them for sure.
And, I'm excited to see where it goes again. And you guys, the two of you, I remember giving you both not shit, but I just didn't understand why you were paying so much gas for Gary V.
That's right. Theo, you were into Gary V too. You were a believer from the very beginning, right?
He's my guy. No doubt.
That's what I thought. Yep.
You both met him, haven't you?
Yeah.
You both met him. Theo's met him. Yeah. And Mike's got his what was it? 5 minutes of fame with the.
Yeah, we had two 5-minute interviews with him because I did the first one on the FaceTime. And then asked him if we could interview him, if he would come on the podcast. And he said, I'll give you 5 minutes from the floor of VCon. So Jenny and I got to interview him in his suite, like under the stands for 5 minutes. And my next one's coming up in March. I get 5 minutes. I got to figure out what to say this time. I don't know what to say this time. I don't know what to say, but I got to figure that out. I got to figure that out.
Yeah. So that was my intro to hearing you guys and seeing you guys do it into Ethereum. So I was sort of slow into it, which really is quite silly because when I'd heard about Ethereum first in like say 16, 17, I bought a tiny amount, but I was like, I'm a coder, right? And I was like, it's code and it's crypto and it makes sense. And these smart contracts. And I remember just thinking, like this looks incredible. Bought a little bit in that crazy 17, right? 18, everyone bought stuff. And then it just went to zero almost. And then I just stopped looking. I'm like, why didn't I go with my gut instinct? And then obviously being a gamer and my wife being an artist and everything else, like NFTs would have been a no-brainer for me. But it took until like April, May, June, whenever it was, to get into the Ethereum NFTs, and it's been nonstop since then.
Absolutely. It's been wild. That's actually a really good point, that like it's hard to, the hardest thing for people to get is the digital ownership. Like it's just a picture. You know what I mean? Like that's how most people's mindset is. I think the younger generation is what's going to change that. The same thing probably with emails. Like when emails came out in the mid 90s, late 90s, I remember my aunts and my grandparents being like, I don't need an email. You know what I mean? Like, but then just as things progress, like you're going to have to own things digitally. You're going to need a digital wallet.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you look at the young artists of today, some of them, they don't do physical painting, right? For brochures and stuff, it's digital.
Yeah.
It's digital painting. So like to buy that is the only way, but it's not just art, as we know, right? It's a lot of it is, it's a key, it's a token. Buying that picture of an animal, whatever, is one thing, but it's a gateway. It's a portal into whatever you want to do with it, right? So
totally.
Sorry, Theo.
No, that's cool. I was going to say I was so heavy into trading cards that Top Shot didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so one-eyed on the trading card thing, and then it was like, removing all of the time to package, post, all of that from a consumer perspective, and then also from a creative perspective, the fact that they continue to generate revenue off the back of that. I mean, that's obviously a hot topic at the moment on the secondary royalties, but that piece is a game changer. And then just the ability to gamify the collectibles is something that takes a while to click in. And I've been in tech for as long as I can remember, and been in music and sport and business for 20 something years. And it still took me a bit of time. So I'm very empathetic to the fact that we're going to need to, see things that are more focused on the benefit of how it's going to make something that people love better, as opposed to ramming technology down their throat and saying, I promise you Web3 is the way to go. It's not that. It's, hey, you love collecting? Well, this is how collecting can be better for you and for the people that you're collecting.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's Vivi, right? And that's their new rebrand, and that's all they've ever said, right? It's collecting, and I've got a couple of hundred toys on my phone that if they were real life, life would kill me. Like I've got some of those those B Friends cards and books there, and I get in trouble for that. But yeah, they've made collecting quite easy, haven't they? And that's their thing. So
yeah.
And respect to them for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to that. Like people, when you collect toys at your house and cards, like you talk about Theo, cards, shipping them, it's the worst. Making sure they get there on time and keeping track of everything. Like with NFTs, you're right. You go into it and it's just, you click a couple buttons, the sale goes automatically. You don't have to do anything.
It's done.
People still say, like, why would you collect that digital thing? It doesn't exist. But it's also like, why would you collect a card in the first place? What does it?
Yeah.
What does
a little piece of paper?
Card,
right.
Yeah, exactly. That would have had the same conversations in the 20s or 30s whenever baseball cards came out, right? So
yeah. No, totally. I heard about NBA Top Shot. It was like an advertisement or something. And I remember thinking to myself, I heard about it like in late 2020. And I remember thinking, why would I ever want a digital trading card? Like that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. And then like in February, Gary Vee puts out a video and says, these digital, it's the thing to do. And I was like, oh yeah. So it like took somebody, because I literally started buying immediately after he vouched for it. But like I remember hearing about it before that and being like, that's so stupid. Like I wish I would have had a little more foresight and like
love them or loathe them. Everything I've heard out of Gary in terms of Web3 has been spot on, really. Like, he spoke about that pizza shop, and you'd have the loyalty card, and the pizzas would get really popular, but then you'd eat all the pizzas, and then you'd be like, well, you don't want to just leave the loyalty card in your drawer, so then you could sell the loyalty card. And I was like, it just makes sense. And then obviously his whole 90% of projects will go to zero, which basically been true, right? Or 95%. Like, he's love him or loathe him. I think he is pretty much on the ball with everything he said in terms of NFTs.
Very true. Very true. Even like VeeFriends, honestly, is even 2 years later, there's not a lot of projects that were that like complex with the drop. You could pick the token you wanted, and it was like, I mean, it was a shit show. Yeah, $400 gas on every token. But like, the Dutch auction, gone reverse, all the different levels, all the different prices. Like you pick your token. Nobody's really done anything quite like that. Nameless put that together. The tech side of it, Jimmy.eth helped him with the we talked to Jimmy on the show and talked about that particular drop a lot. Like that's still ahead of its time.
It is.
It's still
It
ahead
is
of its
for
time.
sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And he will. Like
sitting at 5 ETH. It's not so bad. Not financial advice. It's not the biggest move in the world at 5, is it?
Didn't you put out a remorseful tweet on it last week, Theo? Is that what you're referring to? That you do look back on some you've sold and wish you didn't sell them?
No, I'm selling some VFN 2s at the moment, and it's breaking my heart.
You're selling VFN 2 at the moment? Yeah. Okay. I can't sell them this low, but they're like 0.3 at this point.
I got a couple off at 0.5.
Okay.
Yeah, just to free some ETH up.
I'm sitting on like 15 of those. 7 of them are Keen Kingfishers. That's my jam.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I remember when that came out. You were just like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, that was really cool. So let's talk about Mark's big news. Let's break into Mark's big news. So anybody, maybe some people that are listening, maybe some of your new community now will listen to this. But Mark, I'm gonna let you talk about it. But you put out kind of a fun game called Checkers, and it's like a checkerboard and the new famous checks that everybody's memeing and using, and Jack Butcher. And you made this fun game to play. Put it it's in the metadata, it's on the blockchain. You'll explain how it works, but you made a manifold, which manifold we've talked about so much is so revolutionary for creators. You put it out there, made your own contract, 24 hours. The day started, selling well. We were like, oh, nice, like 250 of them sold. That's pretty cool. And they were selling for 0.0042, which was like 650 or something in US, somewhere around there. Yeah. And then about 12 hours in, you had like 750 sold. And I typed into the Discord, I was like, Mark's about to wake up and be shocked how many he's got sold. And then it just started going crazy. And we were like DMing. And I was like, you're getting to 2,000. And he's like, don't jinx me. I was like, you're getting to 2,000, man. And then it kept going. And I was watching the Etherscan. It's like 10 pack. And I was like, who are these people? And I'm like looking at their wallets. I'm like looking on Twitter, trying to figure out where this thing's blowing up. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And then it just gets like exponentially more at the end. You ended up selling 6,687 of them. That must have been, I see the smile on your face. Like, yeah,
it's just
6,687. Yeah.
I'm still a bit speechless by it all. I literally just told my wife because it started on Friday. I actually was going to the top of a mountain on Saturday, as you both know. I couldn't even access the Manifold page on my phone. So I couldn't even see what was happening. So I was sort of like looking at updates, and I could see how many was sort of minted, but like, and then, Mike, you said, I think 1,100 was sold in the last 5 minutes. Like, it was just insane. So where do I start with it? Listen, I'm a bit of a dev, and, we'll get into it in a bit, but NFT Catcher sort of did that. And then, but I've been involved in some projects, but I hadn't done my own project 2 years into the space up until last week. And I actually, again, we'll chat about in a minute, but I did NFT Melbourne tickets, and they're all on chain. I did the contract. The Lucky World guys did sort of the design. I was like, I'd like to make this on chain as a bit of a hat tip to Jimmy.eth and their on chain project. And I was almost like the monkey off my back. I was like, okay, I've done this. I can do this. I can do a contract. I can do whatever. And then I played around with a few derivatives. There's so many derivatives. We've all seen the famous one from Vincent van Gogh, which was Pepe checks, which sold $250,000 right in a day, which was how many? $2 million he made.
More than it was incredible. Yep.
Incredible. And there's been so many. And then I was playing around with others, and I was like, oh. And then I saw checks for the first time January 11th. I was away over sort of New Year's and stuff, and wasn't really into the system, and I heard about it. Luckily, I bought one for basically cost price. It was like 0.06 or something like that. And I said this time round, if I ever made 10x on anything, I would sell. Right? We've all learned our lessons, but I saw Jack's thread, and I was like, this is different, right? This is not just him just getting the Twitter check. Like, then I'd heard Jaleel, who's the dev. I'd seen his stuff. I was like, everything they're doing is just different. And I just believe that these are These are like three guys. They're all separate across the world. They banded together, and they're building this thing in Web3, and it's Web3 native. And it's not an age. It's not something that's just coming in for a cash grab. And I just really believed in it. And it's funny because I was out with Theo and Greg from NFT Fest, and it got to like 2 ETH, and the guys are like, "Mark, just sell. Like, come on." Greg had proof that he didn't sell. We've all had it, and we had it with the famous super plastic, right?
Don't go there, man.
The three of us, the four of us, all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went heavy into that one. Janky heist or whatever. Yeah.
But I was like, guys, I've only got one, right? I usually always buy more than one because you want to be able to sell, but I only have one. I was like, I want to have that key to Jack. I want to have the key to Jack and to Jaleel. And that's what it is. It's not, for me, it wasn't just, I could have sold and then waited for the market to come down and buy again. But I'm not a trader. I'm terrible at it. And also,
I was right about that though.
You were totally right. It was going to come back down. It always was. But when I'm just not, I didn't want to be sitting there like I did too much previously.
Yeah. Too much stress, man.
I was like, it's key to them. And that's what it was like, they answered my DMs, and Jaleel's been really nice. And then where I go too deep into it, I then looked into the smart contract, and I did a bit of a thread. And I've done a few over the years, and they've had like 5 likes. And it's really tough to get engagement on Twitter, especially lately, right? And then I did that one, and it was sort of the most techie one I did. And it's had over 100,000 views, and that got a lot of traction. It was cool. And then I ended up doing the Black Check DAO logo, which got me sort of chatting to a few of the other guys. And then I was like, oh yeah, let's try and mint something. But I didn't want to just do art. And then I was in the Discord, and someone had done Tetris called Checkris, but it was checks as Tetris.
Right.
And then I was like, surely someone's done checkers. And one person responded just going, I haven't seen it, but that'd be ingenious if someone did it. And that was like Tuesday night. And then I'm just like, I think I can do this. All right, I reckon I can do this. So from Tuesday night till Thursday, I was like, okay, can I get the game? Yeah. And the great thing about this whole world is it's open source, it's CCO, right? So there's code out there for everything you want to do. There is code out there, and 60-70% of this stuff exists, right? And that's what I learned as a 18-year-old studying code, was you don't have to do everything yourself. There's libraries out there, and that's the whole point of it. And especially in the Web3 world, Solidity, everyone can see the code. So my initial thought was to do my own smart contract on my own playing page, checkout page, as well as the actual NFT game. But what I was conscious of was people are afraid to go to random websites and mint.
That's the great thing about Manifold. People are confident enough just to mint without worrying about it. Keep your story going, but that's a really good point. Yeah.
So I got the NFT working. And again, a lot of people don't realize NFTs can be anything. They can be a piece of art. It's all about the metadata. And Jack has done this with the whole refresh metadata. So if you bought an original check, it looked like an 80 checkboard thing. And then he changed it to the Pepe check. And then he keeps changing it. And people are like, how is the NFT changing? People don't even understand that. But all it is a link. You're buying basically a number. So my NFT is number 1, and that has a link to somewhere. And that's the metadata, so it can link to anywhere. So, an NFT can link to an actual web page, and that web page can be a game. So I basically got it done on the test network, and it was a game, and it's playable. And then I was like, okay, where am I going to mint it? And to be fair, again, hats off to Richard. First time I DM'd him, but over the last 2 years, I think we've had Twitter. I've asked him questions on Twitter, and he's always responded like that. Incredible. Like, I don't know what time of day it is, no matter what, he's always responded almost instantaneously. And I was like, Richard, I've test minted it on Manifold, but the preview page isn't showing the actual NFT. It's only showing the image. And he goes, oh no, it should work. It should show the animation URL, which is a special thing, but it didn't. And he was like, let me look into it. Came back to me straight away, and he goes, it was turned on, but we have to turn it off for security issues because it's a website. People were putting the various code into the NFTs, which would then pop up, say something on Manifold. So they had to turn it off. So he was like, I'm going to get the guys to get it happening for you. By the time you mint, it will be ready. Wow. And this was like my time Friday morning. I had to drive up to this mountain Friday night. I still was like, and I was looking to Zora, which is where Zora.co is where checks originally minted, and they let you do it. But I wasn't really familiar with their system at all. And then I just went, listen, I've got to go. I'm just going to put it on there, because if I don't do it now, the meta could be dead. Who knows what will happen over the weekend? And it's a big thing, right? It's timing, and it's ready. It's there. I'd had good feedback, so I minted it, and it didn't work. And then I just DM'd Richard, and I was like, Richard, I've turned it on. If you can't get it working, don't stress. I think it was his nighttime. Yeah, it was his nighttime on Thursday. And then within a couple of hours, he goes, we've turned it on. It's on. And then I'm like, sweet, it's on there. And a big then learning curve is, I just said it to you, Mike, Theo, a few friends, got Ollie, a few other people, AJ minted. Friends basically minted the first few, and you got to get that ball rolling, right? And then it just caught like wildfire. Like one guy DM'd me, and he goes, I'm in this Bitcoin Discord since 2017, and I've just shared it with them, and they love it. I've got all the whales to mint. So one guy minted 180 of them. Mike, you always have said, like, don't put a cap on mints, because it's silly,
I know. Right. If somebody wants to buy it, let them buy it,
Exactly. So we talk about cap. Two things we talk about is like the max supply. So this is the open edition, and people have been giving open edition shit as well. But this meant that you could mint. It's open for 24 hours, and as many as you wanted to mint, you could. And then there's also the per transaction mint limit. And a lot of projects have a 20 cap on it, but it takes literally 2 seconds to change wallets. And a lot of people have multiple wallets. So again, what's the point, right? So yeah, as you said, it got to 42 in 42 minutes. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I honestly would have been happy if 50 sold. Honestly, like I was just like, I didn't know where this was going to go. And then it got to 200 that night. I'm literally driving at 1 a.m. up a mountain, can barely open my eyes. And I'm looking sort of on my updates, and I see 200. I get to sleep at like 2:30 a.m. I was supposed to run sort of a small race on Saturday morning. I just didn't. And then, I saw on Discord, Mike's like, Mark's going to wake up to a pretty big shock. And it was 1,200 on Saturday morning, and then finished around 2 p.m. my time Saturday, and I was literally in the car park and I was asking Mike to screenshot me the manifold page because I couldn't see it, and it just took off. And I want to write a thread about what I've learned, but this has been 2 years of me every single day learning, studying, listening to Bankless and podcasts, like every day. Like my wife is barely she's barely seeing me. Like every time I'm doing anything in the garden, housework, anything, I'm listening to stuff. So, it was something that really only took me 3 days, but it's been 2 years of learning. Plus I'm, pretty old guy. It's been 20 years of coding before that. Right. So, and also it's the connections. Like it's big thing is, I had those initial connections in the checks community, but in the ecosystem in general. And they minted the first 100, 200, and it went from there. So that's, I guess, my advice to anyone. Don't just come in and try and mint something, right? You really have to engage and, do things for free and do proof of concepts and those sort of things. And I still think I just got lucky as well. So there we go.
There's a little bit of that, but it was, I mean, first of all, you're a brilliant dev. Like your websites are always awesome. Like you really do that. And then you've taught yourself. Like I've watched, you've talked, hey, I'm learning this. I'd love to learn this. I'd love to do this. You have taught yourself over the last couple of years. You put it all together. You got in the right community. Your timing was perfect. Your execution was unique. Like there's a little bit of luck, but whatever it is, it caught the algorithms. It like those bots that tell people there's a hot manifold contract. They got to learn it, however it goes down. You made that happen. That was really impressive and really fun to watch. I love that. I thought that was
thanks, Mark. Yeah,
really fun to watch.
I wonder what would have happened if I'd done my own website. I definitely don't think it would have been anywhere near popular.
No, Manifold's the one. Manifold's the one for sure because people connect to that without even thinking, and that's really important.
And how it happened as well was I was studying how Manifold did it because I did not understand how Manifold could let you. So with the NFT Melbourne tickets, which we'll get to in a minute. It cost approximately like $100 USD to deploy that contract. And it's a really simple contract. And then Manifold, it's like $10. And I was like, how are they doing it? But they basically have a lot of the contracts already deployed and you're using this thing called an interface. So you're really just using a little bit of your own smart contract, even though you own technically the contract. You're using a lot of already deployed code, and so that's how they let you mint for contracts for so cheap, which is really simple when you think about it, but so smart. So
yeah, and
then obviously being the first game on there really helped as well. So again, massive kudos to Richard. And it's so funny because we were supposed to mint NFT tickets for Melbourne on Manifold, but I last minute was like, no, I want to do my own smart contract. And then like a very week later, I end up using Manifold. So yeah, thanks for that, Mike. It's been a fun time, man. And now amazing. I already have people going like, when update, when next, when this. So I'm already getting the project founder anxiety, even though it's only like 2 days later. It's like people want more. I'm like,
right, people want something. You got to put out updates. Yeah. You got about a 900 person community.
Yeah, no, I've got some exciting, ideas, and it's fun, right? Like, because we've all bought so many pieces of land that, the metaverse hasn't come, and there's been so many games that are supposed to come. I'm like, not trying to blow my own trumpet, but it's like, I heard about Dropbox 20 years ago when the guy went to pitch Dropbox. He did what Dropbox we all know as, but he did it as a video, and it was all fake. But it was like this is what the system's supposed to be, and that was his presentation. He was like, imagine this. He hadn't built anything. He had just done a video. And it's like this. It was like, why don't these people do little mini games first and mint that and get the people playing it, as opposed to buying this picture of something or buying this, it's like, just do something simple. And people have already, some of you have DM'd me going, I haven't played checkers in 20 years. Our friend Oo used to play checkers in uni for a living. Like, checkers is huge in Nigeria. They used to basically gamble checkers. It was the first game I remember as a kid playing as like a 5-year-old against my uncle.
I remember playing against my grandma. I have a vivid memory of playing checkers against my grandma. Yeah.
Well, Dookie Dash better watch out, man. They're going to be losing their daily active users.
That's it. And, they get FUD because supposedly it was a game that they copied from 6 years ago. But the whole point is you don't have to go and build something new. You can, use libraries and code that's there and just make it a little bit better and a bit fun, and obviously Web3 it. So incredible.
No, I love that story. That unfolded over the last few days like crazy, bro. That was really, really fun.
It was.
And I know you're going to do some cool stuff. You really are a brilliant dev. I love to see, you made that happen. You figured out how to do it all by yourself. So it's good stuff.
Thanks, Mike.
So next up, NFT Melbourne. Is that how you say it?
You got it.
However you want to say it, brother.
Okay. We have a Melbourne here in Florida, but we call it Melbourne.
Yeah, you do have a Melbourne.
Yeah, we have a Melbourne, Florida. Yeah, for sure we do. Not quite as big. Call
it whatever you want, but Melbourne. You'll get shit for calling it Melbourne.
No, I know. We actually, when we look at the stats on Spotify and Apple, we have a lot of listeners in Australia. That's kind of like a decent amount. And you guys, so we're recording it Sunday night, 10 p.m. here on the East Coast of the U.S., and you guys are like Monday afternoon, right?
2 p.m. Monday, yeah.
2 p.m. Monday. So you're 16 hours ahead right now. Whew.
How apart from New Zealand, we're pretty much
the end of the world.
The first of the end.
You're the beginning. Actually, you're the beginning.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. So talk about your conference and why'd you guys want to do it? What about last year? And then we'll talk about this year. I see you guys have some really good speakers and all that. And then I'm going to talk about the tickets too. But What's up with NFT Melbourne?
Yeah, so this is our second time round. Mark and I, a couple of years ago now, our lockdown in Melbourne particularly was the longest in the world. And we got through it partially because we would drink a lot of wine on Zoom and talk about NFTs, definitely every Friday night, but multiple nights a week. And we got to a point where Mark was like, man, we're going to do something. Like, we've both got Web2 agencies. Like, as you said, he's a great dev. I like to think of myself as a person that can commercialize products really well and sort of come up with great business strategies. So, together we make a great team. And we came up with a great idea, which we were going to call Super Fans. It's now become something called Lucky World. And we can get into that later if you want. But essentially, we came up with a plan where we wanted to eventually get to a point where we have our own project, And then off the back of that, we spin up a Web3 agency using that project as like our case study, right? Turns out now we've got two, even before that, because Mark's gone and spun up a couple of things earlier. So that's cool. But essentially, sequentially, we wanted to have, how can we sort of prove our legitimacy in the space, aside from the fact that Mark and I were active, often, as we were talking about before, the relationships we've built. But last February, we did our first event as sort of like our, hey, especially Melbourne, the city that we love, and Web3, this is us putting on a party to celebrate the amazing things that have happened so far. And we wanted it to be annually a place to be able to do that and also show people that you can have digital and physical in the same conversation, and they can coexist within Web3 and just within art and creation altogether. So like you said before, Mike, we nailed that first event. We had 1,000 people through the doors, which in Australia being so far away and often, quite honestly, so far behind in tech, it was great to see. In the fintech space and definitely in DeFi, we're a big player. And now it turns out in NFT space, we've got some incredibly large projects that are Aussie founded. So we punch well above our weight in that space, and we wanted to really start to get some momentum into making Melbourne the hub of Web3 in our region. It's just got everything that is native to Web3 across culture, whether it be art and music, the people, the way that the city, sort of the vibe of the city, the street art, everything about the city, and then how forward thinking we are from a technology perspective. It just makes a lot of sense for it to be here. So that's, we were pumped obviously that the first event went so well, but we wanted to do this one a little bit differently because we are concerned that too many events are a circle jerk and everyone patting each other on the back.
Are you talking about the D-Gods party from NFT Paris? Is that what you're talking about?
Listen, man, that's one thing where I love that. I love when projects put things on and allow people to celebrate the success.
Yeah, and that looked like fun. I know people are making fun of them, but keep going.
But no, fuck that, man. Let them do that. Let them do their thing, man. Like from a like the responsibility that we have as event hosts, if you want to call it that, within this space. I think we need to play a big part in the onboarding process. Or at least we see that as our part of our role, right? So we wanted to put something on this time that was less, let's say, speaker driven, because often many people learn by sitting in, the stadium or arena, or whatever, listening to speakers, but a lot of people don't. And especially those that don't know much about Web3, they can get really uncomfortable and feel really alienated when they're sitting watching people talk with all these acronyms and words that they've never heard of before. And even if they don't do that, just, if they get too deep in the tech, it can be pretty confronting. So we wanted to create an experience where people could come to the show and choose how they wanted to engage with the different activations, et cetera, that are put on. And like I said earlier, less about the tech and Web3, more about the things they already know and love. And just through osmosis and by being there, they would learn how Web3 is making that better, whether it be art, music, gaming, collectible, sport. There's going to be different, there's going to be like an area for exhibitors to set up so that you'll be able to get your hands on demo or games, or even games. A couple of the games will be out in the market by then. There's a VR activation area where Giant Swan, I'm not going to ruin the surprise yet, but Giant Swan's doing an activation where you'll be able to sort of see him sculpting live. There's paint and sip workshops where people will learn how to paint. It's actually going to be our logo, and then they'll be able to choose different patterns that they can paint around it, and then we'll help them mint it.
That's fun.
We're talking about CCO before, but
that's actually really cool. I went to a Gary Vee event in Miami, the Access event he had, and he did that. He let everybody make a drawing, and they minted it into its own collection. That's actually a really neat idea. That's cool you guys are doing that.
Actually, we should do, this might be a pivot live on air. We should do the checkers thing instead. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Let people draw their own checkers. That's actually a brilliant idea. Let people and do a whole collection of one-on-one checkers that people draw. Yeah.
But the main point of it, the reason why we wanted to do it, other than the sort of engaging component of it, was the people can actually go and then mint what they've painted. We'll help them digitize it on their phone, and they can mint it on Manifold for not much money at all, right? It's more about all going back to the practicality of getting your hands on physically working things that are familiar to you, and then us being able to explain to you in real time, and scaling the unscalable by allowing these people to have more one-on-one experiences and actually getting first-hand experience on how each of these things. And we're going a little bit broader. Like there's going to be a really cool in-depth workshop on ChatGPT by someone from Microsoft that lives and breathes this stuff, and a bunch of other things, man. Like, you know, we've got myself and our other business partners have a couple of decades in the music industry, so we've got a really sort of heavy entertainment and music focus on the show as well. So yeah, we're excited, man.
A big thing is still for me, right? It's tech. We're all on our phones. We're all spending a lot of time in front of computers, but nothing beats. And Mike and Andy, obviously, it's very pertinent. We've never met in person, right? Like I've wanted to. You guys have gone up and represented NFT Catcher at these events, and I was very close a couple of times, right? And I just haven't made it for a plethora of reasons.
I booked our accommodation.
Yeah.
Was that for VCon? Were you guys trying to come to VCon? Yeah. I remember that.
So, and nothing beats in person, you know, having Zoom is good, and I've got some amazing friends I've met, but like nothing beats actually sitting down, having a chat and having a drink or whatever.
It's been amazing going to the events for that, for sure.
It's the human aspect,
awesome.
man.
Yeah. You have I see you, like you've got really good friends that you've gone and travel with and stuff like that. And
totally.
We do as well. Theo and myself and Greg from NFT Fest and a few others, they're like my best mates now. You know what I mean? We see each other all the time, and that's a big part of it. And so many people said that about our event last year. That's where they met their friends, and now they're doing projects. So yeah, tech is so important, but relationships and friendships are really good, really important too. And we just couldn't physically get to these events because of COVID. Yep. So we're like, let's put something on. So events are hard, and there's a lot of organization and all the rest. And it's still tricky. Now we're in a bear market, right? And now I heard someone say the other day, and it's true, like 80 to 90% of the project founders that he worked with 2 years ago are out of the space, and they're founders. 80, 90% of the people, like we know so many people that, you know, James Hook and stuff, they're completely left, right? And that's fine. Like a lot of
your
them.
Your boy Mario Carter's.
Mario, he's a Mario.
That guy was like a legend. When we started, we were like, "This guy's the man."
The punk and all the rest. And so many people have been burnt and stuff. And
I have a feeling he's like somebody else that popped up though.
Yeah, he probably is. Exactly.
Beanie? Is it Beanie?
Or like, I don't even know. I picture like he could be like WAP or
new
something.
Guy.
Or like,
exactly. OCF or someone. But yeah, we want to try and bring people back in again, right? Because this is not a fad. This is right. You know, I wasn't quite there, but like, you know, late 90s websites coming, and Gary talks about it as well, right? Like, this is it for us, and it's super exciting to be part of it.
And it goes back to what Mark was saying, you know, get as many working products in front of people so they know it's real, as opposed to, you know, this image, I promise it's going to turn into something that'll benefit you. Let's actually get things in front of them that can show them that it's actually happening, and there's billions of dollars being invested into this space already behind the scenes.
The Starbucks, I talk about it all the time, but that's a project that's doing exactly that. They're letting people get stuff for free, interactive, and then they're selling it. So like some of these people are like, oh, I just got that for fun. It's worth $1,000 now. Like
I haven't been following it. So it is actually up and running. And
there are multiple $1,000 sales on the OG ones.
Wow. Yeah. And obviously Reddit, you know, what they did was incredible. And you know, we've all been saying, Vultura posted, I think, a couple of days ago, is when people are buying NFTs without knowing they're buying it is when we've made it. And that's what pretty much Reddit did. Digital collectibles, right?
Right.
We're going to be we're rebranding to Digital Collectibles Catcher, weren't we at once?
Yeah, I know. Really. Yeah, NFT's a nasty word. NFTs. We're going to stick with NFT Catcher, but NFT's a nasty word.
We are. Yeah, it is. And it was the same with, you know, remember you wouldn't put your credit card into a website back in when it first came out, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to get scammed.
1,000%.
And now we do it every day, multiple times a day without even thinking about it. And the security and insurance and everything there. So we do need a lot of advancements in the security and tech security aspect of it. Every day you see someone getting scammed. I got Discord hacked last year, which affected our Discord. And I've been coding and business for 20 plus years. I've never been hacked. And listen, nothing serious was really done from it. They just posted a malicious link, but I felt like, what's the right word? Like, I felt personally like I was shaking. I went into my wife and I'm like, I've been hacked. And it was just my Discord. I didn't lose anything from it. But, you see these people who've lost Bored Apes and whatever else. And I still to this day say, I've been wanting to get my sister into it, but I was like, oh, it's so hard to bring in a family friend because you wouldn't want them to get hacked or spammed or phished or whatever. So long way to go in that aspect, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Just this week, there was a fake NFT Catcher podcast Twitter that popped up, and somebody messaged me, and they were DMing people, and it was like just a copy of our Twitter. It's so stupid.
Oh,
I know.
It's horrible, isn't it?
It is horrible.
And
it's a disgrace.
The whole thing with, that Jack Butcher has been shadow banned from Twitter, but there's like 5 or 6 Jack Butchers
that
out
look
there.
like his account, right?
Have his account, have the check marks verified. How ironic. Like, and he's shadow banned and people can't even like DM him to say there's a fake one out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Twitter, man. It's all over the shop, isn't it?
It is all over the place. It's all over the place. Where'd Jack Butcher come from? I never heard of him before all this. What's his deal?
And that's why I sort of like him a lot. Like, he's an English guy, moved to New York like 20 years ago, ran a bit of a Web2 agency and hated it because he used to have to go and do these pitch decks the whole time to like pitch to companies to try and get their work. And he was like, this is just horrible. And Visualize Value is his brand. And he just met Trav and Jaleel online a few years ago. He's been, a few people have followed him for a few years. Obviously, I didn't hear about it until after Chex was minted.
Okay.
But he's just a smart guy. So he's sort of the brains, I think, and obviously has a design business background, but there's him sort of leading it. And then Jaleel, has said, is the smart contract dev guy who's amazing. And Trav is more the designer sort of guy. But yeah, like some people have been following him quite a bit. He minted something called Merge for the Merge.
Yeah.
Last September.
Is that was you talking about?
No,
Pac
that was a
Merge?
separate. No, Pac was like a year and a half ago. It was for the Merge, and it was something similar. And then people are like, "Oh, he's just copying Damien Hirst," which you and I might get into for the currency, and there was a lot there as well. I still do, dude. I'm the hodler. Yeah,
I know. I sold mine. I sold mine at like 11 ETH or something. Like
you did pretty well. Yeah,
way back. Yeah, I sold like right at the top. I got lucky on that. Yeah, that's one of the few I hit the top. One of the very few.
But yeah, he's been around, and I think because they've come together in this Web3 world and they've sort of made this Web3 business. I think Jaleel is like French or something. Jack is English, lives in New York. That's why I was like, it's not a Web2 business coming in trying to be Web3. It's like they're Web3 native. And it's bet on the jockey, right? Like that's what we've learned, and all of them I'm betting on. So,
Ali minted. It was either 10 or 20 of them. Sold them all for under 0.01 or something. 0.1. I know. I
said it to him. I was like, dude, has this made you change your mind? He goes, no, like I use that to get something else. But I don't understand why he wouldn't just have held 1 or 2.
At least a little bit. Yeah. Did you see, I posted this in the Discord today. Cosimo de Medici said, if you minted 2.75 ETH worth of Jack Butcher's checks in January, you are now a billionaire. There's probably no
billion.
That's what it says. 2.75
million.
Yeah, because they were $8. They were $8. So that 2.75 ETH is like $3,000 one of them. So yeah.
Yeah, I can do the
math. You'd be a lot of money. You'd be a lot of millionaire. You'd be a lot of something. But for every one of them, right, we've minted 1,000 that have gone to zero, right?
Of course.
You know, remember Beck Dogs and all those.
Oh yeah, Beck Dog. I still have all my Beck Dogs. I didn't sell one.
I've still got that shit on my watch. I got the Biggie Smalls one. I still got on my watch.
Oh, do you? That was so hype. That was so hype. It was.
I like the art, man.
He made one final mistake. He made one vital mistake. He was at like 600 of them, and it was always going to 1,000. And then he all of a sudden was, and I was saying, I was like, you got to cut it off now. Do something else later. Cut Beck Dog off. And then he said, I'm going to 10,000. And people went crazy, and it just ended it. It was all over.
Yeah.
That was a shame. I
feel
bad.
Yeah, doesn't he? Yeah.
Probably.
Cute art.
Probably.
Cute art.
Yeah, they were great. And it was like topical. There was a race for them. You put that little bot together. I was getting a message every time one went on sale. It wasn't a bot that you pay a notifier, whatever.
It was blowing up Clubhouse, man.
Yeah, Andy, I know we were. It was blowing up Clubhouse for sure. I remember being on there at like 4 a.m. and I'd be like, yo, guys, Beck Dogs are dropping right now. People are like, what? And they're like going in there. Crazy times.
Yeah. Yeah, Clubhouse was fun back in the day, wasn't it? And
it was
a big part of it.
That was epic. Met these whole groups of people, and people I'm still friends with, and some of them even like Crypto Wizard. I haven't heard from him in 6 months.
Because I did it last year. I was sort of out of the space for maybe 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Just burnt out a bit, personal stuff.
Totally.
We all need a bit of time out, but I think he's coming back because he was on Clubhouse 18 hours a day, dude.
He was ridiculous. I love that guy. That guy, he was fun. I learned so much from him, like early on. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Hopefully I'll meet him someday.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sunny Queensland.
No doubt. Circle back to NFT Melbourne real quick. I saw you guys have like your list of speakers like Spotty Wi-Fi, Maddie, Voltura, Zenek. Are they all coming in?
Spotty and Zen are dialing in remotely.
Kind of thought that. Yeah, it's a lot.
Spotty's got NFTLA. Zen has some personal stuff at that time, so he'll be. Actually, I'm not sure exactly where he'll be in the world. He'll probably be in Dubai. But he's got something on in India around that time.
Okay.
And then Zaf from Marka will be in LA as well. But from memory, everyone else will
Voltura in person.
Be there. Voltura in person, Maddie in person, and then we're working on a very, very big rock star who will be in town at the time, who we're hoping to be able to announce in a couple of days. But
very, very big rock star.
We had Mask Wolf last year, which was awesome.
Yeah,
that was fun. But I don't even know who this rock star is. So
we'll see. Low. He's a very, very big. That puts a large.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. We know they're here, but he's in Web3, but we're just trying to work out timing. So we're super happy with the support we've gotten there. There's definitely a couple from the Aussie ecosystem that haven't prioritized us. We can get into that another time, but they can't all. We don't. Not everyone's going to be available. We're going to want to get involved, but we think it's important, obviously, to support local, particularly Australia being as small as it is, only 20 something million people in population. But no, it's great. Like we're really happy with what we've put together, and I think the NFT tickets will really add another flavor to it in how we can, not only have, again, real world use case where people can get their hands on and see how utility can be driven through NFTs for events. We can also take that to the wider events and entertainment industry across this region and show them a working example that we've actually built ourselves and conceptualize ourselves from scratch. So that's really the driving force behind it. Obviously, like Marka said before, he also wanted to, and we've been huge fans of what Jimmy's done in the whole on-chain piece. So that part was, I know it was super important for Mark. For me, it was important, but really secondary to the fact that we can offer it and show that it can be done and it should be done, and there's no reason why NFT ticketing shouldn't be included in all events. And we know, especially the bigger, we've got a massive sporting league here that gets 100,000 people to games pretty frequently. They've got existing deals with ticketing companies that'll be around for a long time, but there's no reason why they can't add this and not breach the existing contracts. That league's got their own NFT project out which is more like a Top Shot type offering, but there's no reason why they can't sort of add in, game day access and player access, which they might be doing already. Hopefully, in fact, they'll have something happening at the event, or at least one of their clubs in the league will have something happening at the event as well. So yeah, man, that's our plan. That's our play with the ticketing. So we're excited to see how it plays out.
And I guess with the on-chain, just not to get too technical, but like, what does that mean? Because it can mean different things. But again, a lot of the NFTs just point to an image somewhere, and that image can be on, say, Amazon or Google or a website. And if that website or Amazon ever go down, that NFT will break, right? It's pointing somewhere. So when we talk about on-chain, the actual artwork of these tickets is on the Ethereum blockchain. So that ticket will exist forever, as long as Ethereum exists. And we all believe, I think it's going to be around for a very, very long time. So no matter what happens, that will exist. Whereas we've already seen some NFTs. And it was one of the first things I remember sort of getting my head around was, if those centralized websites ever go down, that NFT will point somewhere. And I remember seeing it for a project last year. They had a QR code that linked to that Wii site that was it was for tennis, and the QR code linked on the NFT linked to a web page which is no longer exists already. And some of these sold for
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, Andy Murray ticket sort of thing. So on-chain just means the actual artwork is on the Ethereum blockchain. It costs a little bit more to mint, but the code for the image is on there. So I just think it's awesome that these tickets will exist forever. And we, like Mike and I have spoke about it from day one. Obviously, Mike's background in tickets was like, this is a no-brainer. It's going to happen. Digital tickets are a complete no-brainer. It's just, we're still a little bit too early. But could you imagine having the ticket stub from your first concert when you're 20? I went to see Oasis and Prodigy when I was like 17. I went down to Cork and we got on the train.
Oasis and Prodigy, that's quite the combination.
Oasis.
That's pretty
cool. I was going to say.
I like that.
Not together, right?
Ever. Yeah, it was the best concert ever. And I'd love to have that ticket stub. And without giving away too much, I also think it doesn't necessarily have to be a static ticket, right? We talk about updating the metadata. So the ticket stub is your NFT ticket, but once the event happens, something can happen to that ticket. And maybe, you can have more information in there. So we have the properties, the attributes in OpenSea at the moment, which is only the date and the location and maybe the artist. But maybe you can personalize that ticket and leave a little bit of memento from that event that you're at. These can evolve and change. They don't have to be just plain old boring tickets, right? And then obviously from a project or creator side of thing is you have these people that bought these tickets, but a lot of events, they don't know who really came to the event. They might have an email address or whatever else, but like you can reward those ticket holders in the next year and follow years, and that ticket can access as a pass to other things, right? And we're seeing it now more and more. Mike, what's that project? We don't know them down here, but that music festival that just did tickets and
Rolling Loud.
Yeah, Rolling Loud. They did their Loud Punks. They sold them for 1.5 ETH, and they sold like 2,500 of them out of like 5,500 that they wanted to mint. It's funny. Anytime anybody mints a project, like as soon as the people buy and then the sales slow a little bit, they're like, shut it off now. Like cut the supply. That's like what everybody's first reaction is. Cut the supply. But no, that's a brilliant thing that they did. I think
forever,
it's kind
right?
of funny. It's forever. It's a VIP ticket to all of their festivals. They do like 7 around the world. There's actually one here in Miami. I've never gone to it, but
do they come? I don't even know if they do anything in Australia. Do they?
No, I think the closest they get is Southeast Asia. I think
the Philippines or something. I think.
So we've got, and that's what I referred to before around Lucky World. We've got that meeting at some point this year, and we've actually played with the allow list component of that and sort of reversed it, I guess, where we've used our event as an opportunity to create allow list spots through the people who purchase particular tiers of our NFT tickets. So the ultimate tier, which is the top tier, is essentially 3 days experience at the event, completely catered for across those 3 days, and a bunch of other things included. But also you get airdropped this Lucky World access pass, and then the tier below it, you'll get allow lists, guaranteed allow lists to this Lucky World pass. And essentially, what it provides is there'll be some sort of consumable sort of mechanisms within it, but it essentially, from a high level, will give the holder the ability to book in studio sessions with like platinum award-winning artists, or get green room access to festivals, or a booth at Ultra, because there's Ultra in Australia, through to unreleased music. So it's essentially all of the IP that's either owned or partnered with by Lucky Entertainment, which is our business partners and a really successful entertainment and music company in Australia. That pass will give the super fans of that brand and its extended artists, IP, sub brand, etc. That's how we'll sort of scale that out, and we're excited to see how that plays out too.
And Mike, are you seeing more and more events happening over in US with NFT tickets? Like, is it starting to take off yet, or?
It's so people are taking it really slow. There's a lot of different companies popping up. Live Nation is getting ready to have their tickets on the Flow blockchain. They were going to release some kind of beta in January, like a tester. I don't think they did. They've done in the past ticket stuff. They've minted like millions of ticket stubs on Polygon, but not like they're not like the tickets, and they haven't done anything with them. But they do have a new program they're getting ready. Live Nation is obviously the biggest, but NFT NYC is trying to do it. It's still very, very early. Like Live Nation's obviously, hopefully they do something really cool. But and every ticket will be an NFT eventually. Like it makes sense for everybody all around. It makes sense. The biggest thing that Live Nation's going to realize is that the resale
scalpers, they'll make money off it.
Yeah, and that's why they're doing it on Flow, so they can keep it in house. There's not going to be any pseudo swap or X2Y2 trying to take it from them. So they're going to have, it's going to be, and no one's going to have their tickets stolen, because when you get front row Taylor Swift tickets, you click a bad link and someone steals your tickets. You know what I mean? You can't have that. No. That's that'll go right back to Congress. You know what I mean? Like, can't have that happen.
It's still so early, but it will happen, right? There's no sure bet that it's going to happen. Right. It is happening.
Right. It's definitely happening. Nobody's figured it out quite yet. And as you guys are doing NFT tickets and regular tickets, right?
Yeah, both. Yeah. You got to because we want to bring in the normies, as we call them.
Right. And stopping people from buying, like we said earlier. If someone wants to buy a ticket, you're not going to, you have to buy the NFT. Right.
You got to remove the friction wherever you can.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. You were saying something, Mark. Go ahead, bro.
Well, that's what I want to look at, is the whole, like what Reddit did. It's just simple checkout, put your credit card in, and you get the NFT, right? Without even knowing it. And I think that's what will happen with tickets, is like, you're just buying a normal ticket, and maybe you almost have the option to go, do you want the physically delivered ticket, or do you want the digital ticket? I think that's what we call digital tickets, right? So I'd like to look at doing a bit of a proof of concept with like Shopify, whatever else, where it is. It's just, okay, one or the other sort of thing. And I'm not really into it. There was a guy on stage, Theo, for NFT Fest, that was talking about tickets and just how bad this ecosystem is with we have Ticket Tech and Ticket Master here, and it needs to evolve.
He was Daniel Johns' agent. I forgot his name.
Yeah, but they take a crazy cut, and it's just, it's $6 transaction fee and all this sort of stuff. And so it will happen, and hopefully we can help a bit of it happen, I guess. So
I love that. So your guys' event is March 23rd. It's a 1 day for the main conference.
Correct.
Cool.
Yep. 10 hours.
10 hours. Oh, wow. Good for you guys. And the website's nftmelbourne.xyz.
Correct.
Melbourne. If anybody wants to check it out, all of our, I said we have a lot of listeners in Australia. So anybody, I wish I was going. I'm definitely jealous. One of these years. I remember something. Theo said something about a VIP.
I told you I was rolling. Yeah, man. I was rolling out the red carpet. I told you.
There was something. Well, One time, maybe
Yeah.
2024. 2024. We'll make it happen.
I look forward to the day where, international flights are just a lot cheaper and a lot quicker. I think, they're working
Flight
on
prices
these.
have gone up a lot. Flight prices have really gone up since before the pandemic, for sure.
Yeah. And then the whole other big thing that needs to improve is virtually attending these things and streaming them. It's quite difficult still to do it. And, we streamed ours into Decentraland last year, which was a bit of fun, but there was a few technical issues. And
it's not quite.
That's still a no-brainer for these events, is that you will, and obviously VR headsets I think will come one day, ubiquitous as well. And you'll be able to buy a ticket for an event, you put the headset on, it'll feel like you're at the event, and I'll turn around and Mike,
there'll be
there
cameras there'll be cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They've trialed it for some events already, and I've seen some of the stuff. It looks incredible. And me being an Irishman living in Australia, I'd love to go to an event with my sister, right? And I turn around and my sister's avatar is there, or she's there. And obviously, if that's all digital, that'll be all digital tickets, NFT tickets, right? And they'll be able to sell. There'll be uncapped supply. So instead of a stadium being 100,000 people, you'll have millions of people at these events. And Fortnite have sort of already done it a little bit with their with some of their events. But yeah, how long this takes, we don't know. Could be a couple of years. We could be old men by then, but we'll see.
Yeah. Wild. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I wish you guys the best of luck with your conference. I think it's going to be really good. And what I really think is you're laying the groundwork. NFT, that's your city now. Like, no one's going to put on an NFT conference in your city. So you keep doing it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I mean, somebody might. Somebody will. Like, there's already other ones. Yeah, I guess it is what it is.
Our good friend Greg doing NFT Fest Australia, they had it in Melbourne, and but we're all friends. It's going to take more than one, right? It's going to take.
And if he's going to move around, still, it's your city. What I picture is, you know what? In 3-4 years, you guys keep it going. Like, who knows? You'll be at the convention center, and you get like NFT Paris this year looked awesome. That venue they had with the speakers and the Eiffel Tower in the background, that's pretty sick.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
Everyone has said it's, and I want to find out more, but OCF put one out saying it's the best one he's been to, and so they've really done it well. I think they've had the actual top NFT people on stage talking about projects that they've run, as opposed to a lot of these conferences that were people who were Web 2 pretending to be Web 3.
Yeah. Oh, NFT NYC is 1,000 speakers. Most of them are just it's the worst. Yeah. It's the worst. The speaker setup there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to, I'd love to get a bit more feedback on that, and we'll try and replicate it as much as we can in a month's time. So
yeah, that's amazing. So March 23rd, look out for it. Follow them on Twitter. Go to the festival if you're anywhere near there. Go to the conference. You'll have a good time. Mark and Theo are good dudes. So we talked about the early days with like Clubhouse and stuff, but I don't know if people know. So the original NFT Catcher website, the way it came about, it's kind of, at this point, it kind of ran, it's like that particular, it's an aggregate of NFT drops. When we first started, this was 2 years ago, we were coming up with all kinds of ideas, you and I. We were like, what do we do? You had the VV Wiki. We were going to do something with VV and get the API and all that. Right. We're thinking about escrow. Yeah. And then one day, I've told this story before, but there's a website in tickets that is, shows on sale that has every concert. Every day you go to it, you see what's going to go on sale, all the pre-sales. And I was like, NFT space needs that. And the second I said it, we both kind of clicked with it. You went to work. We brought in Casey and Nikki, and the rest was kind of history. Like, by early May, we were launched, and it was awesome.
We had it ready, and we looked at. So we launched May 4th, and I think it was like April 30th, which we basically built it. We got sent this little site called Bored Ape Yacht Club, and we all looked at it. I think even on a call, and we all just laughed at it. We went, oh, it's another animal PFP. Yeah. We were called NFT Catcher at the time, and we didn't catch that. But it was just like anything, right? Because you had tickets and shows on sale. I was entering manual VV drops into VV Wiki, so it was already a drop calendar of the VV Wiki. You were like that, and then we're like, let's combine it, and it was really cool. It was all free, and people loved it. And there was drops happening every day, and there was a few others did it, And then thankfully, yeah, we made really good friends and connections from it, and helped sort of launch a couple of the projects.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it turned out to you had a lot more to do it, but being on a call with Cheech and Chong, I was like, what the hell? Like,
I know, it's crazy. Nah, man. And you built that that website's still out there. It's the same exact website you built. That was you put that together quick. Like, I love the websites you build. They're always like they just fit a theme. Like, you're really good at like creating that vibe on a website.
They're smooth too.
Yeah,
really smooth.
They're
The
smooth.
UX is smooth as.
And there's little touches you can tell that it's like a pro website and not just like even your NFT melt. Like, it's like simple, but it's just like really good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little help on that one.
Yeah, had a little help, and my homies worked with some incredible artists, right? With that,
yes,
and all the rest. So it's to be honest, and that's why I said earlier on, I haven't been on Twitter Spaces or done much talking of late, and so I had a bit of practice earlier on Twitter Spaces. But that was my point, was that this has been a bit of a renaissance for a lot of people in terms of, skill sets. People who were in Web 2 and doing stuff they probably didn't love. People who wanted to do coding and didn't really get into it, right? It's really, excited me for the new space in terms of, hey, I like to play games, and now I've built my own game, which is, simple, and it's not my own, but you know what I mean? It's like, so that's one of the fascinating things about the space is I think it's given a lot of a second wind in things, or a new love of areas. So it's been fun.
I do blame your site though for missing out on Bored Apes because I minted Super Yetis, and I was like, after that experience, I promised myself I'd never mint another generative drop again.
Right.
And I skipped.
Super Yetis will have its day. Super Yeti will go to like 2 ETH.
It keeps trying. A couple times it tries. They did they put out land. Did you see that? They put out land, but you had to pay for it. So I was like, I don't think so.
Okay. What was the other one? Metabots or something like that.
Fuck. Oh, there's so many. There was so many, but million. We went so hard on the super plastic, and remember that was crazy.
Yeah, you sold at the right times though. There were some times that it popped off to well over an ETH.
I didn't. Yeah, didn't. But
the last time it did. When it popped, I was on my phone selling them. I was big. I was literally.
I wish, man. My bag was about $500,000. I didn't sell.
Oh wow, yeah.
What for super?
Yeah, you had those. Didn't you get one of those purple ones or something? You had like the special ones.
Purple haze.
I'd like a 50 of those fuckers, man.
Yeah. You went hard, yeah.
Oh yeah. I only have a few left.
Their dev, even when I didn't know much, their dev work was terrible, right? Like everything they did,
it kept messing up.
Had fail. Yep. They did the Gucci collab, which was a complete failure. They're like, you have to own a Janky to be able to buy Gucci. They didn't even have that in the contract. Like, it's one line of code, and that's what we've said, right? Like, hire better devs. It's just been annoying.
Oh man, don't fuck my bags. I still with heaps of those things,
and that's still a major company.
It is. It'll come back again, and we'll see. But again, they promised all this metaverse stuff, right? They promised all this stuff.
Everybody did. That was all the buzzword. Yeah. Whoever all the people had like consultants, they were like, we're going to say we're doing a game, and we're going to have a metaverse, and it's interoperable, and we're going to be buying Sandbox land. Nobody cares about Sandbox. I haven't heard about Sandbox in 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Remember that? I stayed up so many nights trying to buy land, and you guys got some, and I kept failing Australian bandwidth and stuff. Yeah, and then they diluted the supply, right, with that second cartoon drug thingy, whatever it is. Like, yeah. So, anyhow, there's a lot of opportunities, and some we got, some we didn't.
It's all right, brother. You get over it.
There's a lot of FOMO, isn't there? That's speaking to someone earlier on, and it's a lot of people get disappointed because they did miss stuff, because you see every week this crazy stuff that gets minted, you miss out on it, and you can get just distracted trying to be a trader when you're not. As I say, a lot of people just try and build stuff. Don't just, some people are really good at trading, Mike, etc., but most aren't. So
yeah, I've taken it really slow. I've been very cautious. I haven't really been wanting to spend ETH for the most part. So I would like to get a little more aggressive. Yeah, you're right. It's a tough game. It's easy. It's very easy to lose money. Very easy to lose money.
Absolutely,
especially in a market like this. Well, that's good stuff. Let's go over a couple pieces of news before we wrap it up. This was a nice long one. I've had so much fun chatting up. A lot of good laughs, reminiscing. We haven't done any news, but OSF and Mando. You talked about OSF a little earlier. You guys probably saw they sold 71 apes. They brought in $9 million. It was actually honestly a pretty brilliant move because they used the blur system. They took advantage of the liquidity that was there. All of them went to Machi Big Brother, who's a very controversial figure in the space, to say the least. And then he goes, and Machi went and made a huge dump like 2 days later. He sold 90 apes for 5,700 ETH, 191 mutants for 3,000 ETH, 112 Azukis, and 308 other deeds. He sold all of those in the span of like 48 hours.
What's the total market cap on that alone? Like millions and millions.
Too much.
10,500 ETH.
Wow.
Equals $16.8 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about trading. There you go.
I know. That's a trade. I mean, he's playing by the rules. Like, it's crazy how many apes he had. He had like 150 apes after he bought the 71. And it's kind of weird with the apes. Like, so you have like 5% of them are stolen. 3% of them are with Machi Big Brother, who nobody likes. Like, it's kind of a weird dynamic. I wonder what happens in like 10 years. I've said this before, but like when like 15% or 20% of them are stolen, it's like, it gets kind of weird.
I've been saying this for a while, like the flagged ones on OpenSea. I was like, there's definitely opportunities there because OpenSea is just flagging them because someone reports it, but it's already sold 4 or 5 times. And I've heard now that they've really started to pull back. They're not removing the flags, but they're not flagging stuff as much.
Yeah, they got a lot of flack for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, there was definitely, if you had the East, there was Bored Ape, so there was a lot of big collections that flagged that were like cheap as chips. There was one Clone X I remember seeing, which was really rare, and it was like floor because it was flagged. And I was like, listen, that's going to be there. So I haven't been trading. I've tried to stop degenning. I wasn't following the blur stuff, as much as probably others. I saw everyone getting their blur tokens, and now that there's a lot more blur tokens available for the next release, listen, some people are going to play that trading game and be in there. And I know there's a lot of people with bots that are doing it. They're buying and selling, and it's affected the floor prices. And you saw those blue chips or those medium tier chips come down and then go back up again.
Yeah. When he made that dump, they crashed. Everything crashed. Apes went as low as 59 ETH. They're back up to like 74 now. Yeah.
And that to me, again, if you have the ETH, those dips they're such a no-brainer. Like, because there was the Bendow one, right, last few months ago as well, where it dropped massively. And it's like, nothing's changed with the project. It's just crazy tokenomics or trading, right? But the project hasn't done anything wrong. So if you're getting something 20, 30% off, like it just it's a cigar butt mentality, right? With Warren Buffett. Like, but you have to obviously have that 59 ETH or whatever it is to be able to get in there in the first place. So hopefully, I guess in terms of royalties, listen, I've always said, and I never understood why until very recently, and I thought royalties were built into NFTs.
I know. Yep.
They are. There's a protocol, ERC 4229 or something like that. There is an on-chain royalty system in there. But the number one marketplace, OpenSea, chose to ignore it all those years ago because they wanted to have control, obviously, of their own royalties and things. So they chose to ignore it. And that's basically been the reason why this hasn't happened, because I always thought it was in there, right? An artist sells a piece of artwork and they should be able to get the royalties in perpetuity. But OpenSea ignored that protocol and built their own. And that's why you have to allow OpenSea to set approval for all your NFTs and stuff like that, because they control that. And they basically take the money first and then they give it to you. And like, you have to wait a week or two. And I only really recently found that out is there's always been a protocol. OpenSea just chose to ignore it, whereas Super Rare, Rareable, all the others enforce it. So it's actually, this whole problem has been just OpenSea. And then obviously all this back and forth between Blur and OpenSea. I know where it's at the moment, but listen, I think most people agree royalty should be there. Maybe it shouldn't be 7%, 8%, 10%. Right. But hey, give people 2%, 5%, whatever. I'm all for that, especially artists. So
I mean, I'm definitely a huge proponent of royalties, and I try and think of the nuances and I look at all the different sides of it. Obviously for the artists, a lot of artists were sold on NFTs for the royalties.
That's right.
I think it's really important for like if you have an artist that passes away for their family to get that stuff. I think that stuff is really important. I can imagine if you're dumping out of a project because the founder just said I'm leaving and you want to sell it, like nobody really wants to pay royalties on that. I kind of like there's got to be some kind of nuance there. I think
but the fact is they bought it knowing the royalties.
Yeah, knowing there's royalties, like sell. Yeah, no doubt. I haven't skirted royalties at all. I sell my stuff on OpenSea. Like I let it be the way it is. I pay the royalties. I know I pay a little more probably. There like sometimes I think like what if like there was some kind of like system where if you're losing money on it, maybe you don't pay, or if you're I don't know.
That's what people have because
people are going to be accountable, man. When you buy it, you pay what the deal is.
Yeah, I hear that.
End of story.
I hear that.
Yeah, accountability is definitely one part of it.
But even if something changes with the company, like what if literally like these frenzies that fuck you guys, we're out, like so okay, I'm gonna sell my frenzies. I'm gonna give them 8% of my sale. Like that kind of feels like shit.
Yeah, that's
I've heard the whole if it's because one thing they shouldn't be called royalties, right? They're not royalties, they're commission. They're a commission on the sale. Royalty is for use. Blau made that point.
Oh wow.
But yeah, like I think potentially, like if you're making a profit, fine. But if you're selling for a loss, maybe it doesn't kick in. I don't know. We'll let the smarter people work that out, I guess. So
yeah, exactly.
What happened with Frenzies?
Yeah, so you remember that project came out about a year ago, and they did like a 3 ETH Dutch auction. There was so much fun, but then there was a bunch of the influencers were like, "Oh no, these guys are good dudes, real world artists." Blah blah blah. They put it out. It just didn't do well. It didn't take the community didn't really like it. And then about a week ago, they put out a tweet and they're just like, "Yeah, we're stopping." And I think they even deleted their Twitter. They're like, it's not the right time. Like we're still gonna hopefully resurrect it one day, but.
You're going to see it more and more, right? These projects from 2021, like a lot of them.
Yeah, they ran out of money. Yeah, there's nothing there's nothing they can do. They're trying. You're going to see consolidation. You're going to see projects being bought up.
For sure.
That's for sure.
A lot of that.
Yeah, man. There's one you're going to hear about that did a collab with a massive Web2 brand that is essentially stripping back all operations real soon.
Oh wow,
it's just happening everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's was planned, whether it's just the market, whether it's a slow rug. Like I think people use the word rug way too much. Like a lot of these were artists that try to do something and now they just want to be artists. And don't stop giving them shit because they haven't been able to build an empire like Yuga Labs.
Exactly.
You bought their artwork, and that artist in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time, could become the next Beeble, and you have a ticket, right? You have a token access to them. So,
and companies fail too. Like if people haven't intended for it to go bad, then it's the failed company. It's not a rug.
Yeah. And when people were dropping these projects in 2021, nobody really had nobody was thinking I'm starting this company for the rest of my life and I'm going to have all these people that are investors. It was like such people were just rushing to market, and they were putting interesting stuff together. And then what happens is, you bring in $1 million, $2 million, $3 million on a sellout at the time, which a lot of these projects did. Everybody got paid and there wasn't really any money. And the hard work starts after the mint. So it was really difficult for a lot of these projects to take all this money and pay everybody out and then figure out how to build something.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing it slightly change now, right? With free mints or open edition or low cost mints.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, people haven't paid thousands of dollars and they're not banging the table for return story. Because I'm in tech and we give, say, Super Plastic and stuff a bit of shit, but tech is hard. It is hard to build stuff out. It does take a long time. And as we know in the NFT space, a month is 10 years, right, in the real world. Yeah. And most, even we build websites in real life agency, simple websites can take 6 months at times, because there's corporate involved and all the rest. And so it can be really tough in this NFT land, because if you don't deliver something bang within days, people are footing, and then it's just in the Discord.
They're on to the next thing, right? There's a new project coming. Yeah. Yep.
Just gotta do Tim Ferriss and just say, hey, I might be gone tomorrow. By
If this
your own
isn't
risk.
fun, I'm out. Yeah, that's what he said, right? He's like, if I don't find this fun, I'm not going to pursue it. That was in his terms and conditions for Cock Punch, wasn't it? So
Very nice.
yeah, it's a crazy space, and we've been in it for 2 years now. It'll be interested to see what happened. What will it be like in 2 years' time from
I know,
here?
it feels like
right?
we've been doing it our whole life, right? 2 years. Like,
It's so true, man.
2 years.
It's It's just it takes up so much of your brain power, right? Because at times and I keep saying it, like I'll get so disillusioned sometimes by seeing the scams or seeing another rug pull or whatever it is. And then something will happen where I'm just straight back in again, right? A new meta or a new project or someone like Richard just coming back to me, or obviously checks. Like it just reignites that fire in me. So
yeah.
But I do think we'll see a lot more innovation coming in the next year or so. And layer two's Coinbase for layer two news is huge. People I don't think have realized that. Coinbase have 110 million users, and they've chosen, unlike Binance, they've chosen Ethereum layer two to have their coin on it. Mm-hmm. That's massive. If they can onboard 10% of that, 5% of their audience, that's got huge implications for Ethereum for layer two, and which then rolls up to layer one. So I'm definitely an ETH maxi. I just see ETH just continue to grow over the years, and it's just so super exciting.
Love it. The only other thing we have on here, and we don't need to go too crazy into it, but I love the drama on Twitter Spaces and NFTs. And Ryan Carson is now leaving Web3.
Crazy.
A large fall from grace. He was like, I mean, obviously people didn't love how he left the Moonbirds, but then he started Daily Dose, and that he made a brilliant move with those POAPs. That was really a good idea. And he was one of the first people to do that and start handing them out. And he was having 2,500 people a day in there. One bad tweet starting this new fund, and it just crumbled. It crumbled him.
Such a bad move.
He couldn't take
everyone turned on him.
Yeah, everyone turned on him. They stopped doing the POAPs. It went down to about 800 people per day. It's a double-edged sword, because I listened on Friday to his last show. Like, whatever you think about him, like, I definitely have my opinions on him. He's basically a politician. I look at him like a politician. He is a super smooth talker and can talk his way out of anything. And I guess he's been successful doing what he does. But the people there were really nice, and they all built themselves this nice community. And like, I feel bad for those people, but he definitely.
So what's his reason for leaving? He's just burnt out. He's just.
Yeah, I just think like his fund wasn't going to go. I don't think there's really a good reason. I think that it's can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen kind of thing. Because like Farouk gets that much shit all the time. Like people are smashing him every day, and like he's still going.
Probably realized he wasn't going to raise the money he needs, and
that's exactly right. But that's a shame. So like, you're just going to run away, like go make money somewhere else, like. I don't know.
Yeah,
he said some things.
Yeah,
he said some things that I didn't really find super genuine. Like, he was talking about why he left Moonbirds. He just goes, "Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to start a fund." And I said, "I was like, what's fun about that? Like investing other people's money and like
it's got fun in the word, but that's about it. I reckon.
It doesn't sound like fun at all to me. Like, I hate when people ask me what they should buy. Like, it's the worst.
Yeah, from what I heard, I think you saying he's a politician comes across like he speaks really well.
Yeah.
I totally ignored Proof because I'd listened to the Kevin Rose podcast when he spoke about it. And I was like, I'm going to get that. And then I had to go home to Ireland for unfortunate reasons, so I couldn't mint it. Had the ETH there ready.
Really? You were ready to mint Proof Pass?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew about it. And then our friend Greg, he got one. He could have got two, actually. So since that, when you don't mint, you sort of just ignore it. But
you're like, I missed it. I'll go on to something else. Yeah, I know.
It just went. And then Ryan, I just sort of, but I still heard him on the Daily Dose and stuff. But I think he made a few mistakes, right?
He did.
It's the relationship stuff again. He burnt those relationships with Zeneca and those others who had just supposedly had conversations, and then he's out there saying that they bought in for this and that. You can't burn those bridges, right? So
Zeneca was actually in his Twitter space on Friday. Ryan is like kind of hopefully he's hoping to pass his community. Zenek is doing a daily show now on Twitch Spaces, Zen Daily. So like Ryan, they like work together to try and bridge that. You know, but he did burn a lot of relationships there.
Yeah, Seneca's a great operator. He's Aussie.
Yeah,
a lot of people
he seems like
probably know that until they hear him.
Oh no, okay.
Him and Vultura are Aussies. Like as we said, we're on this. We're about above our average, I think, in terms of us being down here, and that's why we want to do NFT Melbourne, bring people together, and the Medikey and Maddie being a massive fan. I think you're a key holder as well.
I have all 4 of them.
Yeah, if they can pull off this game. They're trying to build a game which is notoriously hard.
Ganymede, right? Yeah,
new Ganymede. Yeah, if they can pull that off, it'd be fascinating. Zeneca's a good dude, I think. It sounds like so.
Yeah, I like Zeneca. Cool. Well, how much fun was that? So I always give the guests a chance to shout out any kind of artists or maybe creators in the space that they really like. And I put you on the spot. I didn't tell you before that I was going to ask you that. So if you have do you guys have anybody you want to shout out? Any artists you really like? You think needs some light?
I don't think he needs any light, but Giant Swan is one of the most genuinely amazing humans you'll ever meet in your life.
Giant Swan?
He's got some of the biggest collectors in the space, been collecting his stuff for 3-4 years. So he doesn't need any more love. But I mean, the man is just the most genuine person that I've ever met.
I went into his studio, Mike, and so he sculpts in this VR environment. He puts a VR headset on and he literally sculpts these incredible creations in VR. But then he'll print them out and he sort of brings them into post-production, and the prints, you see the print out in real life, they're stunning. But yeah, like Jimmy's buying up all this, Jimmy.eat's buying up all this stuff. He's just and then when you have the headset and you put it on, these sculptures come to life. So like the butterflies will fly around you. But
you can walk around.
The fact that he's got sounds in there, like it's like 4D. He's it's a great call, Theo. I think he will just grow and grow in popularity, and especially when we all end up having more VR headsets and stuff like that. We're super honored to have him as part of our conference festival, and we've got something special planned if we can pull it off from a tech perspective.
Love that. That's a good shout out. Giant Swan's new to me. I heard you mention him earlier, Theo. That is new to me though. That's cool. But I am following him somehow.
There you go. Probably I've tweeted him out a fair bit and all the rest, so maybe through that. And then I think I'm excited for all of us actually on the call, what we can do ourselves, like NFT Catcher. Obviously, Mike and I started that, Theo with NFT Melbourne and Lucky World, and I'm sure maybe the 3 of us will collab on something down the track because NFT Catcher, you've done an amazing job, you and Andy and Jenny, obviously with the podcast, and the calendar website is, it might have a second coming. We'll see. It's not as popular, but I think we'll definitely have other things coming down the pipe. So it'll be fun to do some more stuff there.
Amazing. Well, what a pleasure, guys.
Pleasure's mine, brother. I appreciate your time, man. Appreciate all the work you do in Web3 too, man. You're doing a good job. Same to you. Same to you. This was really good. This was interesting, funny, good trip down memory lane.
What episode are you on now, Mike?
120. This is 126.
Wow. There we go.
I know.
That's no, honestly, like you guys have put huge effort in, and
I can't believe it. It's crazy saying that number. That is a lot of episodes.
And you're really good at it, dude. Like you're natural at it. You come across really well, and Theo's got his off the chain. He's doing not live interviews, Theo, right? But it'll all be just
we're rebranding. I saw that there's another pod out with the same name, and actually had Gary V on the show. So I'm gonna have to go and change. Change my brand.
I love the name, and the video was great.
Yeah, well, so does someone else.
You guys are putting in a lot of work with the content. It's really hard,
brother. I appreciate that.
Constantly do it, and pass on our love to Jenny, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, right, Jenny will be back. Andy and I had a good call with her. I'm not going to spoil anything, but we had a good call with her the other night. We had a really good call. So she's
speaking of VCon, huh?
Yeah, she did last year too.
Oh, that's cool.
It's awesome. Like they fly all the speakers, they fly them in first class, put them up in a hotel. Like they do it right. Yeah, I know. You guys got to learn a thing or two. Like I was waiting for
We do.
my
we're gonna
plane
raise
ticket.
150 million for.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Flights
I was
are a
waiting
lot more expensive
I
down
know.
here.
I was waiting for my business class Miami to Melbourne, but I guess it didn't come in.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's
Mark's
coming.
just gonna
Good.
do another.
Okay. Yeah.
Another
Good,
version
good,
of
Yeah, I'll
checkers.
just do a few more
I'm gonna do
derivatives.
another, for my
But
plane
Watch
ticket.
this
I
week.
got to run to my
Cool.
3 p.m. I'm
Awesome.
10 minutes late.
Do
I'll
your
catch
thing,
ya.
Theo. What a pleasure.
Peace,
Yep.
man.
And Mark, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Oh, good.
Hopefully we'll do it again. And I know you guys are
forward
going
to
to
it.
crush the festival. And we'll definitely be talking soon. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. Another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast in the books. We will see you soon. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.